The Vanishing in Mill Creek. Before we begin, make sure you're subscribed, because the case you're about to hear will keep you up tonight. Mill Creek, Pennsylvania, the kind of quiet American town that still shuts its diners at 9 p.m., where everyone knows who drives what truck, and porch lights mean safety. The air smells like pine and wet asphalt after rain, and bad things are supposed to happen somewhere else. But on a warm June weekend in 2018, the safety of Mill Creek vanished with one girl's simple goodbye. Her name was Haley Reed. 19 years old, a singer-songwriter who played acoustic sets at a local coffee bar called the Hollow Cup. With her wild blonde hair, faded Converse sneakers, and that chipped guitar she called Mara, she was what people here called the good kind of trouble. Bright, stubborn, and just restless enough to dream about leaving town, but never cruel enough to actually do it. Haley's friends said she was fearless. She'd drive out alone into the Appalachian foothills to camp or write music. Her Instagram stories were filled with night skies, fireflies, and old railroad bridges. She once said, "Silence is the only time I can hear myself think." That line would later feel like a prophecy. She still lived with her parents, Karen and Robert Reed, in a modest two-story house on Maple Drive. Karen worked double shifts at a nursing home. Robert, a retired National Guard sergeant, was the kind of father who still mowed his lawn in perfect lines. They worried about Haley's independence, but she always came back home, eventually. The morning of June 16th, the sun burned through fog as Haley packed her old Subaru Forester. Camping gear, sleeping bag, camera tripod. She told her mom she'd be off the grid for a night. Karen didn't push, she'd heard it before. By now, Haley's solo adventures were part of the rhythm of their life. But that night, the rhythm stopped. The next day, Haley's best friend Brooke Thompson waited for her to show up for a small backyard party they'd planned. When Haley didn't arrive by 7 p.m., Brooke texted. No reply. By 9, she called, straight to voicemail. Haley ghosting people? Brooke told police later. Never. She'd at least send an emoji. The following Monday, she didn't show up to her job at Lakeview Outfitters, the camping supplies store she'd worked at since high school. Her manager called her parents, thinking maybe she'd quit. But when Robert went to check her room, everything looked untouched: wallet, spare guitar, laptop still plugged in. At 6:15 that evening, Karen filed a missing person report. It had been only 72 hours, but every hour of silence felt heavier than the last. The first major break came that night, when an officer spotted Haley's car abandoned in the gravel lot of the Moosehead Tavern, a roadside bar 2 miles outside town. The keys were still in the ignition. The driver's seat was pushed back, and a folded flannel jacket, the one she always wore camping, lay on the back seat. For the people of Mill Creek, that discovery snapped something. The local Facebook page flooded with search volunteers. By morning, yellow flyers with Haley's smiling face covered every mailbox, gas pump, and grocery window. Search teams combed through Mill Creek woods, where Haley was known to hike. The air was thick with the smell of mud and pine. Underbrush scraped at the volunteers' legs as they called her name into the quiet. 2 days later, about a mile from the tavern, a group of searchers found a disturbing clue: a small camping lantern, mud-streaked but still working, lying beside a torn grocery bag. Inside were protein bars, a disposable camera, and a single flip-flop that matched Haley's size. Detective Mark Dawson, a 20-year veteran of the county sheriff's office, took command. The first thing he noticed was the phone. It had stopped pinging cell towers at 9:27 p.m. on the night she vanished, somewhere near the edge of town, before the woods swallowed the signal completely. Karen Reed's world unraveled. She sat at the police station every day, clutching Haley's guitar pick in her hand, whispering prayers to no one in particular. Reporters started arriving from Philadelphia and Pittsburgh. Everyone wanted to know, where was Haley Reed? Then, 9 days later, a storm rolled through Mill Creek, flattening the search tents and flooding the fields. As the rain cleared, a deputy found something along the banks of the creek, a plastic makeup case, cracked open, with Haley's initials scratched on the inside. And next to it, barely visible in the mud, something that made Detective Dawson's stomach twist. A nightshirt folded neatly, the fabric soaked and cold to the touch. Whatever happened to Haley Reed, It hadn't been an accident. The messages from nowhere. The town of Mill Creek had never seen a search like it. Helicopters scoured the woods, news vans camped outside the sheriff's office, and strangers brought sandwiches to volunteers who refused to give up. But every day that passed without Haley Reid felt heavier, more impossible to explain. Then, on June 25th, something unexpected happened. Something that made everyone in Mill Creek stop and hold their breath. At 8:41 p.m., Haley's best friend Brooke received a text message. The name on the screen read Haley Dizzy. "Don't freak out. I'm fine. Just needed to get away for a bit. I'm with someone. Tell Mom I'm okay." Brooke read it 3 times, heart pounding. The grammar was off. Haley never wrote in short sentences, never used punctuation like that. Still, it was her name. Her contact photo. Her tone almost. Brooke's relief lasted all of 30 seconds before it turned into confusion. At the same time, Karen and Robert Reid got their own message. "I'm happy. Don't call the cops. You won't find me." The words were cold. Detached. Not Haley. The texts pinged from a signal near the state border, over 100 miles north of Mill Creek. Police traced the tower data and sent patrol units, but there was nothing. No trace of her phone, no witnesses. Detective Dawson didn't buy it. He'd seen it before. Kidnappers sending fake messages, abusers trying to buy time. Something about the phrasing felt manufactured, rehearsed. That night, Dawson sat in his office replaying the security footage from the Moosehead Tavern. Around 9:10 p.m., the night Haley vanished, a silver pickup truck pulled into frame. The driver stayed inside for 5 minutes, headlights off, before backing out. The plate was half blocked by mud, but the make was clear, an early 2000s Ford Ranger. A vehicle just like that belonged to Eli Martin, a 42-year-old construction foreman. Married. 2 teenage daughters. He lived in the next town over, and had once been Haley's guitar teacher. When Dawson's team pulled Eli's phone records, things got worse. He'd called Haley's number 6 times on the day she disappeared, the last one at 8:59 p.m., moments before her signal died. Eli was brought in for questioning the next morning. He wore a clean button-up shirt and spoke with the calm confidence of someone used to controlling the story. "She was like family," he said. "I was helping her with songwriting. She looked up to me. That's all." But detectives found photos on his social media from local camping sites, the same woods Haley used to visit. They also found something in his glove compartment, a gas receipt timestamped 9:32 p.m. from a rest stop 30 miles north of the tavern. When asked why, Eli hesitated. "I was clearing my head." Dawson noted the tremor in his voice. Later that night, a search warrant uncovered something else, a burner phone in Eli's garage. Forensics traced the outgoing messages. It was the same device used to send the texts to Haley's parents. But the texts hadn't been written by Eli alone. The style was inconsistent, alternating between Haley's chatty tone and someone else's stilted, older phrasing. To confirm, the FBI brought in a forensic linguist, Dr. Valerie Hunt, who specialized in identifying authors through writing patterns. She compared Haley's real texts from her friends' phones with the mysterious ones. Her conclusion was chilling. The person who wrote these messages was imitating Haley's tone, but it's not her. The spelling patterns, sentence structure, even the emojis don't match. The linguistic signature points to an older male writer. Someone with formal grammar habits. Someone trying too hard to sound young. When police confronted Eli with the findings, he stayed silent for a full minute before saying, "You people don't understand. She was special." "What do you mean, special?" He exhaled sharply. "She needed someone who actually cared." It was the closest thing to a confession they'd get that night. As the case deepened, more details emerged. Haley's coworkers recalled seeing a man waiting in a truck outside the store days before she vanished. A customer said she once overheard Haley arguing on the phone, her voice trembling, saying, "You promised no one would find out." Detectives began connecting the dots. Eli Martin had known Haley since she was 15. He'd mentored her, encouraged her to perform, and quietly inserted himself into her life, becoming the kind of adult she thought she could trust. Now, that trust was gone and Haley was missing. On June 29th, search teams returned to the woods. In a clearing just off the main trail, a volunteer found something buried under damp leaves, a folded camp blanket and a bottle of cheap cologne. When tested, it came back with 2 DNA profiles. One belonged to Haley Reid. The other belonged to Eli Martin. Detective Dawson stared at the lab report that night under the cold flicker of the fluorescent light. Whatever had happened to Haley in those woods, Eli knew. And yet, her body was still nowhere to be found. The search had turned into something darker. Because now, it wasn't just about finding Haley Reid. It was about finding out how far a man would go to hide the truth. The confession that wasn't. It had been nearly 3 months since Haley Reid vanished, and Mill Creek had turned into a ghost town that lived on whispers. Flyers had faded in the summer rain, the missing posters curling at the corners. But Detective Mark Dawson wasn't letting it go, not when every new lead seemed to point in the same direction. Eli Martin, the 42-year-old contractor turned family man, had refused to talk since his last interrogation. His lawyer claimed the case was circumstantial, no body, no crime. The public was divided. Some believed Haley had truly run away. Others, especially her mother, knew better. Karen Reid's eyes had changed. They no longer searched for her daughter, they searched for the truth. Then, on a gray Thursday morning in late September, something happened that made headlines across the state. A local news channel, WCLV7, aired an exclusive sit-down with Eli Martin. The station's producer, desperate for ratings, had cut a deal with Eli's attorney for a televised interview. The ad break before the broadcast simply read, "The man at the center of Mill Creek's biggest mystery, speaking for the first time." At 7:03 p.m., under hot studio lights, Eli sat stiff in a blue dress shirt. He looked tired, almost hollow, but the calm he'd once worn like armor was gone. The interviewer, Lydia Shaw, opened softly. "Eli, do you know what happened to Haley Reid?" He blinked, jaw tightening. "I think people think I'm something I'm not." "Did you hurt her?" He looked straight into the camera. "I didn't mean to." The control room froze. Lydia pressed. "Didn't mean to what?" But Eli didn't answer. He just stared, breathing heavy, as sweat glistened along his temple. Then he whispered, "She wouldn't stop crying," before tearing off his microphone and walking off set. The segment went viral within hours. Twitter, Reddit, and every true crime forum exploded. Headlines screamed, "Eli Martin confesses on live TV." But Dawson didn't see confession, he saw strategy. Eli had said just enough to look guilty, yet vague enough to protect himself. Still, that single phrase, "she wouldn't stop crying," stuck with Dawson. He replayed the words again and again in his office until something clicked. Weeks earlier, during the search, they'd found an old camping site near Hollow Ridge Lake. Nothing unusual, just charred firewood and broken beer bottles, except for one thing, a torn tarp with faint reddish stains. At the time, the lab hadn't been able to identify the DNA due to contamination. But now, Dawson ordered a new round of tests using updated protocols. When the results came back, they changed everything. The blood on the tarp matched Haley Reid, and so did a strand of blonde hair tangled in the fibers. But there was more. Mixed into the same sample were trace amounts of ethanol and bleach, chemicals often used in construction cleanup. Eli Martin's company. It was the first solid forensic connection tying him to the disappearance. With renewed momentum, Dawson and his team searched an area around Mason Quarry, a remote site Eli had worked on weeks before Haley vanished. There, under a concrete drainage culvert, they discovered a small silver charm, the kind that hung from Haley's guitar case. It was bent, weathered, and nearly invisible against the mud. But it was enough. On October 18, 2018, Eli Martin was arrested and charged with first-degree murder, even without a body. The prosecution built a devastating case. The hidden relationship, the fake text messages, the DNA, the confession on live TV. Every piece painted a picture of obsession and control. The trial began 6 months later. Karen Reid sat in the front row, her hands trembling over a folded paper crane Haley had made years earlier. The courtroom air was still heavy. When Eli took the stand, he looked different, thinner, paler, eyes darting like a trapped animal. His defense argued it was a tragic accident, that Haley had slipped during an argument and hit her head. But no one bought it. The prosecution played clips of his interview, pausing at the line that had haunted Dawson for months. She wouldn't stop crying. The room went silent. It took the jury less than 5 hours. Guilty. Life in prison without parole. As cameras flashed and reporters crowded the courthouse steps, Dawson stood apart, staring at the horizon. Another case closed, but no closure. Haley's body was still missing. Months later, a letter arrived at the Reed home. No return address. Inside was a folded piece of notebook paper, damp and faintly stained. "You were right about everything. Look by the old quarry trail." Police searched the area once more. Beneath a tangle of roots near Hollow Ridge Lake, they found a small box containing Haley's silver ring and a flash drive. The files were corrupted, except for one, a video clip. A few seconds of Haley, laughing under sunlight, holding her guitar. Eli's voice faintly audible behind the camera. Then static. Karen never pressed play again. She didn't need to. The world finally knew what happened to her daughter, but in Mill Creek, the rain still fell the same way, and the fog still rolled across the woods where it all began. And for Detective Mark Dawson, one truth would always remain. Sometimes, the most chilling part of a confession isn't what's said. It's what's left unsaid.